What I want to show you today is how to use the visibility scripts that are available in IBM BPM for use on your coaches. So first I'm going to bring up my process designer. And what I've done, I've created a heritage human service. I'm using IBM BPM 8.5.6, but these visibility rules have been there, I believe, since 8.0. And what I have here, this is my coach. I've got a combo box in which I select a value, and then I have some different sections down here with visibility rules on each section so that these sections will display based upon what I select up here in this combo box. Coach view respond to data that's available in the human service. So let's take a look at my variables. What I have two private variables. They're both lists of name value pair. And in the first list, I put in a list of names of states. And then what I want to do is, as I select states in this list, I want them to be transferred to this second list. So in this combo box, in its configuration, I've set it to be a multi-select list, and I've set it to get the list of what shows in this combo box from a variable called list of registered states. And as I showed you before, that's name value pair. Now what happens is when you select something there, this component will transfer it into this other name value pair list over here called list of selected states. So what I want is I want the visibility of each of these three sections here to be determined based upon what's been selected in the list. Let me go and run it quickly just to show you what I'm talking about. So when this coach comes up, you'll see in my combo box, I've got a list of states: California, Colorado, New Mexico, and Texas. What I want is for a section to show up if you select Texas. So pick Texas, I get a section. I have another section that if you select California, it will show up. These are separate sections. Now, I also wanted to demonstrate some more complex logic. So what if you wanted to have a section that only displays if you select Colorado and New Mexico? And so I've implemented that logic also. And that's what I'm going to be showing you how to do. So back over in the process designer, on each coach view, and in this case I'm using sections, there's a visibility set of properties. And in this section, you can either have it to be a value or you can have a rule. The rules are pretty good because basically what you do with the rule, it's a visual builder. It allows you to build up an expression. So in this case, I want the visibility to be the same as the parent if list of selected states current item's name is equal to Texas, right? Very simple. Now, if I want to show you that, let's go ahead and run that. That rule is very good because if in the list of selected items, Texas is there, then you'll get this visibility. And notice you'll get that regardless of whether Texas was the first one selected or the second one selected or the third one selected. You know, it basically does that iteration through the list for you. So that's a nice little feature I didn't realize was there. But still, there are cases when that's not enough. There's cases when you want to do logic that is more complex than you can build with this rule builder. And in that case, what you do, and that's what I've done in the second section here, you have to be able to write a little JavaScript, little block of JavaScript that will basically be able to evaluate variables, and then you return the proper value based upon the logic that you wish to implement for the visibility. So I don't have visibility right now on this particular section here. This is just an output text. And so here I could set up a script. As soon as I say what variable it is I want to monitor, you'll notice it gives me a nice little prototype for the function with some instructions on the function so that I know how to build this script. So that's a great way to get started. Now, in my case though, I have a complex data structure that I need to be able to look into the elements of that complex data structure. So what this logic does is I look at this list of selected states, which is a name value pair list, and I have to go through it in order to find out if California is in that list. So in order to do that, I have to be able to access the elements of a list of complex object. The code that I have here shows you how to do that. The first thing to know is this basic syntax. This basic syntax that I show you right here. In order to access a variable that's in the scope of your human service, the first thing that you have to do is up here at this line here, run this script when the following variables change. You have to select the variables that you're interested in referencing inside your script. So that's very important. So do that first. Now then within the script, we use this syntax .get. So it's local.get. Local is the context of the human service. .get with the name of the variable that you want to access in quotation marks as a string, that will return the object. So this statement, if local.get list of selected states is not equal to null. So what I'm doing is local.get list of selected states returns an object, and the first thing I want to do is check to make sure that the object's not null. If the object isn't null, then because this is a list, what I want to do is I want to get the number of elements that are in that list. So the local.get list of selected states returns an object. That object has a .length method on it, which returns the length of the list. And I can use that to set up my indices so that I can then have just a standard JavaScript for loop in order to go through the elements that are in that list. So the next thing that you need to know is, well, how do I get at a specific item within that list? And the answer is to use this syntax. I get back the object, as I did before, local.get list of selected states. Then I use the .get with method to return a specific object within that list. Once I have that object, then I use .get and the name of the field of the object that I want to return, right? So in this case, .get name is equal to California. And then, so if California is in the list, I'm going to return required. And if not, I go through my for list and return none. So really that's it. In order to get at a complex variable from within a script, this is what you do. You use the .get in order to get the object itself. And then if it's a list, you use .get with an index in order to get an element of that list. And then you use .get with the name of the parameter of the object that you want to return. And this can be arbitrarily complex. So, you know, it's very similar to your server-side programming, but you just have to use this get syntax. And once again, I want to remind you that in order for it to be visible within this script, you have to select it to watch up here. Okay, now in this particular example, I could have done this using rule, but in my next section down here, I want this one to be visible if I've selected both Colorado and New Mexico. And see, this is really where the power of the script comes in, is that I can go in here. I have the syntax. I know the syntax for accessing any element in the list and any field within any element within the list. So I can just string that together using JavaScript to create quite complex visibility rules if necessary. Now, the other thing that I want you to be aware of is that it's very possible for you to also update variables that are within the scope of the human service from within these visibility scripts. So going back to my simpler script here, this is the one for California. Let's say that I wanted to set a variable. So I created a variable. I have another variable which I bound to this output string here, right? A variable named test. And I've bound it to this output string so that whatever's in the value test will show up in this output string. So here in my visibility logic for California, let's say that I wanted to actually put a message within that output text. Well, I can do that, and I'm just going to insert it right here. You know, local.get is for getting the local variables. Local.set, same syntax with the name of the variable. So in this case, I wanted to populate test. And then what do I want to put, the string that I want to put in there? You selected California. And that's the syntax. So if I save this and go run my example again, initially my output text is nothing there, right? If I select Texas, it doesn't get updated. Select New Mexico, it doesn't get updated. But if I select California, not only do I get my section, but my variable was also updated. So I think you can see that if you have the ability within a visibility script that's on a coach view, you can read variables and you can update variables from within this script. There's quite a bit of power there. So some of these things that you've had to result to server-side logic for, and of course that round trip of going to the server and coming back, you can now do these within a Heritage Human Service on a coach within a visibility script. So I hope that opens up some interesting ideas. I hope that gives you some ideas of how to do things that you've wanted to do that were kind of difficult, maybe in an easier way. If you want more information, I highly recommend that you go out to the BP3 website and look at information we have out there about the Brazos UI Toolkit, which provides a nice set of enhancements for IBM BPM. Thank you, and I hope this helps you.